Hello, everyone. Today is October 22nd, 2020, 12 days before Election Day. I know our clerks don't want to hear that, but it's true. So thank you for joining us for our meeting with our local city clerks. Our goal tonight is to hear answers to some frequently and maybe not so frequently asked questions that we may have or that we've heard from our neighbors and friends. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on our website as one more resource for the community. Joining us tonight is George Darany from Dearborn and Lynne Senia from Dearborn Heights. We did invite Felicia and from Inkster, and we hope Felicia Rutledge, we hope that she'll join us, but right now we have George and Lynne. So we're going to start off asking each of them some questions, more logistical type questions that pertain just to their city. So welcome, George and Lynne.
Thank you.
Lynne, will you start off and tell us, introduce yourself and just briefly give us your background and what drew you to serve as city clerk?
Okay, I've been a resident of Dearborn Heights for 36 years. I worked at Michigan Bell right out of high school a few years ago, and I was there for 14 years. And then once I had my first daughter, I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So anyway, back in what was that, 2006, I applied for the city. I worked in the treasurer's office for 11 years and transferred over to the clerk's office about 2.5, 3 years ago, where I served for as city council secretary for 2.5 years. When Walter retired, I decided to put my name in the hat because first of all, I know how important voting is, and I've worked with the staff here, the limited staff, because there's only 4 of us, and they're very they're awesome. You know, we worked well together, and I knew that was a good team, and I wanted to be part of that team. You know,
good for us, and I agree with. We've had good relationships. How about you, George?
Well, I guess my political career, if you will, started when I ran for city council the first time in 1967 or 97. I'm not quite that old. 1997, and I served on the council for 4 years, and then I was elected to be state representative for 3 2-year terms. And after those terms had expired, and I was term limited out of the state as far as being a state rep, I noticed that. Well, actually, I had thought about running for the city clerk's office even when I was on the city council. I just thought that would be a great position to be in. I love helping people vote and learn more about voting in elections. So I've always been a numbers kind of guy. And so the clerk's office fits well for that because there are a lot of numbers. And so I had the opportunity to run in 2017 and was elected in November of 2017. So this is my first presidential election, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you very much.
Mary Jo, one thing I forgot when George said George said something about his political career. Upon taking the appointment, I had to resign my position on the Crestwood School Board, which I had served there for 16 years.
That's right. I did read that. Thank you. That's
You're
good
welcome.
to know. Thank you. All-around person. Okay. So Lynne, what are your special hours for voters, and what services will be available during those hours?
Okay, we will be open tomorrow, October 23rd. We're going to do regular city hall hours, which currently are from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4. And then we're open October 30th from 9 to 12 and 1 to 4, and October 31st from 8 to 4. And our services will be strictly elections.
Okay.
Whether it, either registering here in the office or obtaining their application and their ballots.
And obviously those are in addition to the regular hours of the city hall. Yes.
That's correct, because City Hall's only is currently open Monday through Thursday.
Okay. How about you, George?
Well, yeah, we've been open Monday through Thursday, just, I think beginning March we did that, but now we're opening up on Fridays. And so we are open from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock on Friday. So that would kind of be new because we just started that last Friday. And so tomorrow will be the second Friday that will be open 8 to 5. But on Fridays, we'll handle all city clerk business, not just election. And then the next couple Saturdays, we're going to be open from 8 to 2 on the 24th, and then 7 to 3 on the 31st, Halloween, and we're going to be just doing election business on those days. We're also opening up an extra 2 hours on the Monday before Election Day, so we'll be open until 7 p.m. that Monday before, and then we're going to be open on Tuesdays and Thursdays until 7 p.m. next week also for election business only.
Okay.
So we added a few during the week and a couple on the weekend.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you both for doing that. How about drop boxes? George, I know you've added a few.
Well, we've got the one at City Hall that we've always had, but now we've got a different one. The Wayne County provided us with a beautiful new box. So we're using that one outside of City Hall. And that's, of course, 24/7. And then what we have, what I call human drop boxes or a drop off ballot stations, one at Hubbard Manor West and one at Hubbard Manor East, where we have two individuals there with a metal tin that's locked and has a security strip on it as well for folks to come between 8:30 and 4 Monday through Saturday and drop off their ballots there if they like. And we're also there to answer any questions that they might have at that time too.
But they
So-
cannot request an absentee ballot.
They can't request one. Well, I mean, we'll have the forms there if they want to request one. We'll have the forms there, but we won't actually have the ballots to hand to them there.
But they could fill it out, complete it, sign it, and give it to that person, and they'll turn it into the clerk.
Absolutely, they can put it right in that same box, and yep, and we'll take care of it.
Okay, and Lynn, how about your drop boxes?
Okay, we've always had the 24/7 drop box that, you know, comes right into the building. But we did take advantage of the Wayne County Commissioner's offer of the two, and we ordered 2 drop boxes. We have one located at the John F. Kennedy Library, which is down on Van Born, which we've never had a drop box. Well, we've never had the drop box except for here. So we did get one for John F. Kennedy Library, which is, they're bolted into the cement because we've had questions. People are going to steal them, but they're bolted into the cement and they're under camera surveillance. So, you know, they're totally secure. And then we put one down at the end of the long walkway that we have up to City Hall, so people can just drop it right off at the end and hardly get out of their car.
Very good. And I'll start with Lynn. What provisions have you made at the polling sites to help ensure voters from any possible outside intimidation, such as police presence? Not that that would be intimidating. I meant that as helping to, you know, minimize.
Right. Okay. Our police officers will be in the neighborhood, you know, throughout the neighborhood on election day. But we were also advised that they'll readily available. They won't be stationed at the particular precincts because we understand that that could be possible police intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be readily available throughout the city. You know, they have the police, the non emergency number, as well as they can call 911 if they feel that threatened. You know, if any of our workers or our voters.
Okay. How about you, George, for Dearborn?
Yeah, a little bit different. We are also concerned about folks feeling that the police presence may be a little intimidating, and they feel the same way too. It's not us saying it; they're telling us the same thing. So, what they did in the primary that we thought worked well, and we're going to probably hold true for the same thing in November, is they're going to be in the parking lot. They're going to be in their cars in the parking lot, ready to go if we need them. But they're not going to come in the building unless they're called to come into the building. So we just we felt that worked. But they're not going to be parked up real close. They're going to be parked in the furthest corner
Not
away
obvious.
in a parking lot, just to be on site. So so that's the way that we're handling that. And we also have all of our department heads, which are, I think, 11 or 12 of them. They will be assigned 2 or 3 precincts each to go in and be at these precincts all day long. So our election workers don't have to answer questions regarding poll watchers or poll challengers. They'll be the point person. They'll have badges on that say election supervisor, and they will be the people that will be answering the questions or concerns of people that might have an opinion one way or the other that might get a little hostile, shall we say.
Oh, very interesting. I'll be
Yeah.
interested to see how that works. George, what kind of voter information do you have on your website to help voters?
Well, I mean, right now, I think the website has been pretty inclusive. We did a press release, and the press release was done by our city of Dearborn writer, Mary Landroche. And then as soon as we published that in the local papers, then it was printed on our website. And it pretty much dictates or tells you what we've been talking about already, where our poll boxes are, our drop boxes are, where the 2 other locations are, what our extended hours are, what the deadlines are. Of course, we've passed the deadline now to to register by mail or online. So since that deadline is passed, I think our website says that you have to come in person to register to vote now. So I think pretty much all the information that people have been asking for and been calling about is now on our website under the clerks. Actually, I think it's on the front page because we asked for them to put it on our main
I think
page.
so too, yeah. How about
Yeah.
you, Lynn?
Information on our website, we have, like George said, our extended hours, additional hours, the hours that were open, like I had mentioned earlier, and deadlines. We have a link to michigan.gov/vote so they can check their ballots. And we don't have this on there, but when people call on the phone, we do refer them to vote411.org.
Wow.
Yeah.
Music to our ears. And I just want to say that I was up there the other day and the voter guys look so wonderful. And so thank you very much. Same at the clerk's office, but it was just neat to see it both. I even took a picture. Okay.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of those voter guides. I think we were down to 1 bundle.
Oh, okay. I was going to go tomorrow or Saturday morning. I have a few more of the local ones and we can get some more state ones. Thank you for telling me, George.
Yep.
Okay, what kinds of provisions, we'll start with George, do you have for voters with limited English proficiency? Will there be ballots in Arabic, for instance?
Yeah, so we've been working with the state on that, and we have not received them yet. I was hoping to get them by now, but the state, I think on their website, is going to be publishing soon if they haven't already. They told me they were going to have a list of about 30 different languages where the sample ballots will be in 30 different languages, depending on what you're looking for. Of course, we're looking in Dearborn for Arabic and Spanish, and I've promised to put those on our website and also to have them blown up and put at every precinct as well on the bulletin boards. So we will have, and I'm sure we'll have them before Election Day, but we'll have them on at every precinct, Arabic sample ballots and Spanish sample ballots.
And I'm going to ask an ignorant question. So if you have someone come in and they don't understand something that's on the ballot and you have an Arabic speaking poll worker, are they allowed to read that or not?
Yes. And the proper way to do it is to have one Democrat and one Republican together explaining them what's on the ballot. Yeah.
Okay, very good. How about you, Lynn? Anything special?
I mean, we're planning the same thing through the Secretary of State as far as having sample ballots posted on the walls, translated in Arabic and Spanish. I just spoke to the state before our meeting and they haven't done it yet, but they're working on it. They're trying to get it to us as soon as possible.
Good to know. Okay. Lynn, if I come to request an absentee ballot, will I be able to get my ballot right away after I complete the application and turn it in one session?
Yes, you will. I mean, we take their ID, issue them the application, and then as soon as they return that to us, and of course the signature has to be verified, then we issue the ballot right here. We have, I think, 6 voting booths out here, including a handicapped one in the
Right.
hallway.
Okay, how about you, George? Will people be able to do the same thing?
Yep, same way. We've got the voting booths, and we actually had one gentleman that used the handicap machine yesterday here.
Yeah.
So
Very good.
yeah,
So,
we're set.
ballpark, how many in your 2 cities have returned valid absentee ballots?
You say 64%?
In Dearborn, we've sent out close to 25,000 now, and we received back just over 14,000.
Okay.
How
And
about
we've
you,
it-
Lynn?
Yeah, and we've issued over 14,000 and have 64% returned.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, the last question I'll be asking for individual answers is, will voters in your city need to pay postage for their ballot? And if so, will the clerk pay for the postage of ballots which come from the post office without postage?
I'll take that one. We decided to put postage on ours. So we have spent I don't know, $16,000-17,000 to put postage on it, knowing that we're going to be reimbursed by the state of Michigan, who told us just to keep track of the numbers, and we will be getting a check back from them. If it doesn't have postage on it, we typically get an invoice from the Postal Service. I think it's on a weekly basis, maybe it's every other week, that tells us how much postage we owe them for the ballots or for any mail that didn't have postage on it. So we will pay for it one way or the other.
Okay.
It will not stop the mail from going through because they have to mail the ballot. It's a federal law that they must mail the ballot with or without postage on it.
And Lynn, do you do anything differently? Are you paying for postage in your city?
We have not put the return postage on it. Okay,
Okay.
if one does come back requiring postage, we would pay for it. Okay, but we haven't had that situation.
Okay, is that written in law that the city will pay for any postage that isn't on the ballot? Do you know?
That's a good question. I'm not sure if
That is
it's
a good
written in law.
question.
It's just.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because it's come up and we didn't know the answer.
Yeah, they send us the bill and we pay it. So I mean, I think I'd have to refer that to our legal department, but I'm not 100% sure what the law is on that.
Because you can imagine some rogue clerk saying, oh, I'm not going to take any of those. If they want to vote, they have to put a postage on it, but hopefully.
Yeah, right.
Okay, those are the end of the individual questions I was going to go that I asked for the cities. Now we have some more general questions, and we'll just go back and forth because you obviously both are very well informed. And we're going to do a few to begin with from my list, and then we'll go to Jen and start with her first question, then just kind of go back and forth. We'll see how it works. So my first question let's start with Lynn. Can I get a new absentee ballot if I want to change my vote? What if I make a mistake at the polls?
Yes, you can. You would have to spoil that ballot, and then you would be issued a new ballot.
What does that mean, spoil the ballot?
You'd have to fill out a form and request a new one. That would invalidate the original ballot. And
Okay.
then that would be deleted and then issued a brand new ballot.
Okay, and that's both at the clerk ahead of election day and then on election day?
Yes, the qualified voter file does not allow you to issue more than one ballot to each person, to a voter.
Okay.
You know, so if you do want that second ballot, then that's what I mean, spoiling it, and that would invalidate that first ballot, and then the voter would be issued a new ballot.
And if I have an absentee ballot, George, but decide to vote in person at the polls?
Well, That's not a good situation. And I tell people that if you decide to vote at the polls, please let us know ahead of time. Please come and spoil that ballot or surrender that ballot to us so we can make sure that when you go to vote at the polls, it doesn't already indicate that you've already received a ballot. Because I tell people, if you wait to go to the polls to do that, then the person that's working there will call us to spoil the ballot, and then you'll have to fill out a form saying, yes, please spoil that ballot and issue me a new ballot, which could add 10 to 15 minutes to your waiting time while you're in line. And of course, all the people behind you are also going to be waiting that 10 or 15 extra minutes because you don't know how busy it's going to be in our office. Though I must say that we're going to be prepared for that. We think it's going to happen a lot, though we hope not, but we're prepared for it. We're going to have 3 people on the phone here at our office, and all they're going to be doing all day is taking those questions, spoiling those absentee ballots, and making sure that that happens as quickly as possible.
So if somebody on Monday said, you know, I think I'm going to vote in person, would it behoove them to then take it to the clerk's office and take care of that ahead of time rather than waiting till election day and taking it with them? And
Yes.
yeah, okay. Because on Tuesday, it's only voter registration activities, right?
Yeah, well, you can get a ballot if you want to do both, right? Register and get an absentee
Right,
ballot
but-
at the same time. Yep.
Right, okay, thank you. And what about, Lynn, what about a voter registration? Are there any special rules for students, ex-felons, or homeless?
Um,
And
you know,
George,
I'm
you
new
can
to-
chime in.
what's that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, you know, I'm new to this, so I usually have to look these particular ones up. I've only been on August 2nd. So, ex-felon, I don't think they are. I think if they're incarcerated, George,
Yeah, I
they
think you're right.
cannot get one because actually I have one on my desk. I have my desk right now. Maybe George, you can help me with this one. The address was a detention center.
Yeah.
So
if-
it's like but I can't look them up. I have to call the county. I have to find out. I found out that his, or this person's date was October 16th. I don't know what the outcome of that was.
Right. Yeah. You don't know you can't do anything until you know the outcome because it has to be
Exactly.
convicted of
So-
a felon. Right.
Right. The
Interesting.
other ones, I'm gonna read.
Well, we could ask George.
Okay.
Students, ex-felon, well, we talked about ex-felons
Yeah.
or homeless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we need an address. I mean, even if it's a PO box or a church that they're staying at or a homeless
Okay.
center, as long as we have an address, they'll have, and mostly everybody has an address of some sort, and that has to be verified. So if they can't verify, then we can make a phone call to help verify. In a homeless case, we can help verify. No one should be turned away because they're homeless. So we'll do everything in our power to get that person a ballot, even if we have to deliver that ballot to the homeless shelter to them, we can do that.
Now, does the address have to match what did they put on the voter registration application, match their driver's license?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And Jen, let's start with your first question.
Okay, this one is very specific to Dearborn Heights. Jerry asks, are you still looking for election workers in Dearborn Heights?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now we are set, but we if somebody is going to turn in an application, we may need them because we don't know. I know with the primary, we had drop-offs at the last minute, you know, so we would like them just in case, but right now we have like, oh, maybe that'll be another question about how many we are having. Right now, we're all set though.
How about you, George? How's Dearborn?
We're looking good as well, and we are taking names for backup. We'd love for them to come to the training. We'll pay them for the training, and so they're ready to go. And then if we need them on election day with the drop off, as Lynn has suggested, then we hope that they'll be able to step up and jump right in because they've already been through the training as well. So, but we will pay them for the training even if we don't use them.
Okay, And would you be calling them like at 5:30 in the morning or something to let them know that we need them?
We probably won't know until
That
like
morning.
7 o'clock. Yeah, right. If they don't show up
Okay.
at 7 o'clock, then we
I
start
gotcha.
calling.
Okay, thank you.
And some people might get sick during the day, or that happens too, or have a family emergency. So
Okay,
um,
all right. That
that
sounds
happens.
good. Okay, George, when do you think we'll get local election results in Dearborn?
Well, our game plan is to have all of our numbers ready and out by, I'm hoping, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think that's too optimistic, but we've got new high-speed tabulators for our AVs now. We've got 4 high-speed machines, and we hope that that'll speed up our process. And as you know, last time we were counting till 3:30 in the morning, but we don't want that to happen this time around. Though we're going to have a lot more ballots to count. We only counted roughly 11,000 ballots in August, and we're going to be counting closer to 25,000 ballots in November.
Mm.
So, but we're still, that's our time frame, 2, 3 o'clock, we hope to be done.
Will you be doing shifts?
No,
Okay,
no, we decided not to do the shifts. So
Okay.
everybody's working a full day.
okay. How about you, Lynn?
Pretty much the same. Obviously, we don't know when we're gonna get done counting. We did get one high-speed scanner. Hopefully, I mean, Dominion has assured us that that can handle, that. I was downtown in Wayne County at 4 a.m. for the primary. Hopefully that'll be sooner because all-nighters are pretty rough, right, George? 4 a.m.
Yes,
is really,
yes.
so
Will you have shifts, Lynn,
no, we will
on
not.
Monday? Okay.
No, we will not.
Tuesday rather? Okay. Okay, here's I'm sorry, question from the audience.
Okay, and this can go to whoever wants to take it. Trisha asks, as poll workers, we are required to have someone from 2 separate political parties sign the election results, as well as assist a voter if they need help casting their ballot. However, I have worked a precinct where everyone was the same party. Is this something that could cause the results to be challenged?
Wow, another legal question. I don't know the answer. I don't know if it can be challenged just for that reason. Again, that's why we're trying to, if there's a need right now that we have and poll workers go, we need more Republicans because we have a town that has a lot of Democrats, and finding the Republican poll workers has been trickier. So we try not to have that situation happen where everybody's a Democrat, but it happens. But can it be challenged? I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I have a question. I cannot drive. What if I need to get my ballot to the clerk or Dropbox, but live alone and have no relative to take my ballot in for me? Let's start with Lynn.
Obviously, I don't know the legalities, but I know that the former clerk would go pick it up as an election official.
Okay, how about you, George?
Yeah, I've done it, and we have staff that will do that. We're only obligated to do that until I think 4 or 5 p.m. the Friday before. That we are obligated to do that if they don't have a way to get the ballot back to us. But after that, we are not obligated to do it. But we're not going to say no. I mean,
Right.
We're going to go pick it up.
Right.
That's good information. I never realized it was in law like that.
Yeah, it's actually on the secrecy sleeve if you read the fine print.
Oh, okay. I guess I haven't done that.
Yeah.
Okay, Jen, another question.
Okay, let's see. Geraldine asks, is there a plan to deal with any possible open carry incidents? Lynn, I'll have you take that.
Okay, and there's nothing set in stone, but there is, our police department is well aware of the law and they will be throughout the city. So, and we've instructed our poll workers, they call 911.
Okay, and George, I think this is also an important question. So what's Dearborn doing?
Yeah, so right now, the chief is aware of the controversy involved now regarding this. Do we go by what the state law says, an open carry, which would allow people in to the vote, even in schools, open carry and vote, or do we go by the directive of the Secretary of State? And of course, that's for a judge to decide, as the judge has decided already on some other issues. So we'll wait to see what the judge says on that. And right now we're going to be handling it. If you walk in with a gun, we're going to politely ask you to go back to your car and put the gun in your car and then come back to vote. And if they don't, and they're peaceful and nobody's causing a disturbance, I think we're going to allow them to vote and leave peacefully. We don't want to try. We're trying not to have any confrontations at all.
Well, let's hope for the best. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And actually, that was my next question, so I get to skip one. Lynn, what kind of COVID avoiding provisions are being made in the polling sites to help keep voters and election workers safe?
Okay, well, election workers are required to wear masks. We have plexiglass in front of the processing tables. The voting booths are cleaned out after each voter. There's shields. We have shields for the workers, but we can't mandate that a voter, we can highly suggest that a mask be worn by the voter. But if not, we will have a separate table or a separate voting booth away from those that, the 6 feet. I mean, all of them are going to be 6 feet away, but one specifically for, those that do not want to or don't feel comfortable wearing a mask or don't want to wear a mask. Okay.
Thank you. Would you be doing anything differently, George?
Oh, the only thing different for us is we do not have the plexiglass at our tables. Everything else is pretty much the same. We'll have hand sanitizer everywhere. We'll have disinfected wipes, which we will wipe down everything throughout the day, including the booths, as Lynn has mentioned. And we're going to have plenty of pens there. So if this is probably the first election I'll say, if somebody wants to walk off with the pen, that's fine. Yeah, they can have the pen because we're not worried about getting it back. We'll have more than enough pens.
Okay. And George, how does a voter know if their absentee ballot has been received?
Well, they can go to the website, which is the great thing to have at michigan.gov/vote. And if they go onto that site, it'll show them when the ballot was mailed out to them. And then it'll also show them when it was received back to our office. When we scan it in, that shows that it's been received.
Immediately.
Yep.
I'm going to ask a follow-up to that. I've heard that a big reason that absentee ballots are not counted is that the signature is missing or it does not match the one on file with the clerk. How will I know if there is a problem with my signature so that I can come in and rectify that? So I'll start with Lynn.
Okay, I can tell you what we do. A letter is sent out to the voter immediately, making them aware of that we can't process that until they come in and sign it or come in and to verify their signature. Oh, we lost a person. As well as we have rejected all of those ballots in the QVF so that if a voter looks it up at michigan.gov/vote, they will look at and see it was rejected and see the reason.
Yes, and that's something new. That's great.
Yes.
Okay, so my question would be, if it comes, so at what point does the clerk determine that it's accepted? Or do you do the vetting on the signature right away before you would indicate that it was received?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Jen.
Okay, so Laura asks that she says that she saw a brief mention on the news that of the 1 million absentee ballots requested in the state and sent out, about 20,000 have not been sent out. Do either of you know what that is? Has that affected the local communities at all?
I can tell you, we send ours out within 24 hours. We process them daily.
Yeah, and we do that too. And we're still getting a lot. So we're still getting 30, 40, 50 applications a day. And we've got
Multiple, too.
three people working on it to making sure they go out in 24 hours.
Yes, yes. And multiple applications. We're receiving, I don't know about you, George, but we're receiving multiple applications for sometimes for each voter. And obviously those applications have to be filed or checked in the system.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that there are a lot of other groups and organizations sending out applications for folks, which is confusing to them because they're not sure. Wait a minute, didn't I fill one of these out already?
Exactly.
Why am I getting a second one and a third one? And you're right, Lynn, we're getting 3 and 4 applications from the same person.
And everyone is checked.
And we have to
Everyone is
check them
checked.
all. We have to check them all.
Yeah.
All right, great, thank you.
I forget whose turn it is, Jen.
I think it's your turn, Mary Jo.
Okay. What kind of documents do I need to register in person? Let's let Lynn take that.
Okay, you need your ID or some type of picture identification. As well as I believe right now, George, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have it in front of me, they need something with their address, of another official bank statement or pay stub. I know there's a list of them and we have them here, have it here in the office readily available for us to look at.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, just some form of picture ID, whether it be your driver's license or a Michigan ID or a passport, and then a verification of that address with a DTE bill or a credit card bill or something like that.
Okay.
This is for people that are registering to vote.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Jen?
Okay, thanks. I'll open this up to both of you because I think it's important and I think we'd all like to know this. Will there be extra workers in each precinct to help with a possible influx of voters? That question's from Lori.
You want me to go? You want to go, George?
Go ahead.
We do have extra, at least an extra one. Currently, we have 6 regular precinct workers, as well as an NHS student at each precinct. So we'll have 7, which I think we usually at least have 6.
And that's very good because that's more than what we normally have. And right now our goal is to have 6. So at most places right now we have 5. Every place we have 5 already, and about half of our locations we have 6.
Okay.
But we're still looking for a few more to get 6 everywhere. And that's not counting the election supervisor that I told you about before, the department head person that will be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to follow up, George, so you're still sifting through some of your applications because you said you're still looking for 6. So, but you're not looking for any more poll workers.
Well, yeah, we're not. We have enough applications to go through, but as I had stated earlier, we're a little top heavy with Democrats right now, and to balance out, we'd love to have some more Republicans to balance that out.
Okay, so if any Republicans are listening, that would be great. Okay, how can I make sure that I am registered and still on the voting rolls, George?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's simple. If you call us up, we can just type in your name and look you up. I had somebody the other day that called me and they were not. And they were all worried about not being able to vote. And I said, no problem. Just come into our office, show us your ID and proof of residency. We'll get you registered in a ballot right away. And they were assured that, even though they might have been off the rolls for whatever reason, because they hadn't voted in 25 years or whatever, or moved into Dearborn fairly recently, but we wanted to make sure that they're covered. But we can look that up in our QVF system to find out if they're registered or not.
And Lynn, why don't you tell the audience another way they can find out?
Michigan.gov/vote.
Save the clerk some time.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Jen.
Okay, thanks. All right, so another question from Lori, and this one is specific for George. Is the training mandatory for workers in Dearborn?
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to say we've never had an instance when we were when somebody said that they couldn't work, but they'd been a regular for, let's say they worked the polls 10 times in a row, and then all of a sudden they were out of town and couldn't come to the training. But then what we do in that case is we have them come in and we talk to them one-on-one. But some kind of training is mandatory before you go to the polls, before you can work at the polls. We prefer to do it in person. We prefer to do it in person rather than virtual. And we've made provisions now to use 2 rooms. We used to have everybody trained in 1 room, but with COVID and the separation that we have to have, now we have it in 2 rooms and a monitor in the second room where they'll see the same thing that the people in the first room are seeing. But if they have any questions, there'll be somebody there from our staff to ask that question of the trainer in the other room. So we can still pretty much do the same amount of people, train the same amount of people because we're using more rooms.
Okay. And Lynn, what if I don't have a photo ID on election day? Can I still vote?
Yes, you do. You have to sign an affidavit. A
What does
voter,
that mean? What does that mean? That sounds intimidating.
I don't have it in front of me. They just have to sign saying that they are who they are. Right, George?
Yep.
Okay.
And then they can vote just like any other person.
Yes.
Yes.
Jen,
Okay, so we'll go back to George here for this one. If a voter comes to the polls and the records show they received an absentee ballot, but they say they never received it or they lost it, can we still spoil the ballot even if the envelopes have started to be opened?
Yeah, so that's when the poll worker will call our office and say, look, they never got their ballot. Can you just spoil that ballot? They can spoil it because it's never been received. It hasn't been received. And so so we'll spoil that ballot, and then they sign the form saying that they want us to spoil their ballot, and then they can get another ballot right then and vote. But again, it's a process of calling the office, having us call them back, and then filling out the form. So it could delay their voting 10, 15 minutes, depending on how busy we are at the office.
okay. Is it too late to request an absentee ballot? How do I request one if it's not? George, you want to go?
Yeah, they can request a ballot. I get them every 10 or 15 minutes through my email. I get people requesting a ballot. So yeah, they send us the application. We check the signature on the application, and within 24 hours, we send them out a ballot. Or what we're telling people now, if it's easier for you, we can just have you come to our counter and we'll just hand you the ballot and you can vote right here. And you don't have to worry about us mailing one. You can just pick one up here. And for the most part, I think people are catching on to that, because I don't know about you, Lynn, but our office has been very, very busy. Our counter has been extremely busy the last 3 or 4 days, and every day keeps getting busier and busier for people that are not worrying. They're not going to worry about the mail. They're going to come in person and vote.
It's been nonstop all week.
Yeah.
Usually it was Mondays. This week it's been all week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jen,
Okay, this is the last one I've got in my chat box, and if you both want to weigh in on this, great. I'll have you start, Lynn, though. Are there any special rules regarding concealed weapons at voting sites? And that question is from Colleen.
Not concealed weapons. I think it's just the open carry. It's just the open carry
Right.
that the Secretary of State came down with, but concealed weapons, no.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
but can I ask an ignorant question? So churches and schools, are they already exempt from people being able to walk in with, a gun showing?
Yes.
Okay. They're exempt. So the thing that the Secretary of State has said, so I'm a little confused about the Secretary of State directive that you
Okay,
were talking
so-
about earlier.
Yeah, the voting rules supersede everything. So
Okay,
yeah, so if you're not allowed to have it at schools, but your school is a voting location, then you can have
okay,
an open carry. But the Secretary of State is saying now she's not going to allow it. So if we're going by her directive right now, then it won't be allowed. But if the courts overrule and say, no, we have to go by the way that the laws of Michigan are written, and the laws of Michigan are written stating that you can go into a school, open carry and vote, then that's what we'll have to go with.
Okay, what if I just moved? Where do I vote? Lynn,
If you just
if
moved,
I just moved,
I don't know the timeline, but I know that I mean, we've issued ballots that the Secretary State has reversed that because they've moved. You know,
we'll have two scenarios. So I moved from Indiana to Dearborn in the last 20 days. That's one example.
Yeah, in that case, if it's less than 30 days, you need to get an absentee ballot from Indiana.
Okay. And what if I move from one side of Dearborn to the other in the
Yeah,
last 30 days?
We can change your residency again with proof of residency. We can change the location of where we send that ballot.
But if you showed up at the polling site with your other address, they'll just say, go to the other
Yes,
site. Probably.
yes, yeah.
And Jen, at this point, if you get any more questions, just let me know. Okay. What kinds of provisions are in place for voters with disabilities at the polling site?
well, we have our voter assisted terminal. And then we also have the voting booths, the handicap voting booths. Is that what you're asking?
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
George, anything else special?
No, it's pretty standard. Yep.
What-
But we, as Lynn has mentioned earlier, we have that available also at our city clerk's office.
Mhm.
For the folks that want to vote absentee, they can take advantage of those same things in our
What if-
office.
Yeah, what if a visually impaired person wanted to come in because they just wanted to be at the election, polling site, but of course they can't, well, okay, they could use the machine.
Yeah.
What if somebody wanted somebody to just help them? And they didn't want to use the machine. Would
So voter assistant.
somebody else be able to fill in the ovals for them?
Yeah,
Okay. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to
Yes.
make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. How can I see what's on my ballot? Lynn?
Well, we have sample ballots here at City Hall if somebody wanted to come in and get one of those. And I believe you can go to michigan.gov/vote and it'll preview your ballot.
It sounds familiar. Okay.
Yes.
And going along with that, George, how do I know where my polling place is?
I would suggest you go to michigan.gov/vote and that will bring up everything that you need.
Right, it's wonderful.
It really is.
If I recently registered to vote, do I need to bring anything special to the polls on election day? If I just recently registered?
No, if you're a registered voter, you'll be in the QVF, and you'll be in the e-poll book because we update that on Monday, the day before. The e-poll book is updated on that Monday.
Because
I think-
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think, and correct me, George, if I'm wrong, but I think if they register on election day, they have the option of voting absentee in the building, or QVF will print out something for them to take to the polls.
Absolutely
Okay.
correct.
Okay,
Yep.
Right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, what if I go to vote at the polling site and they don't have my name in the poll book?
No, they would call City Hall. And
Yeah,
then
we try to find out where you're supposed to go, where you're supposed to vote.
Okay.
It may be in another location in the same city, or it may be in a different city, whatever the QVF tells us.
And we can search statewide. That would tell us that, as long as they're registered somewhere in the state.
Yep.
Okay. And what if I go to the wrong polling site?
They can look them up. They can look if it's within the city. They can, our workers can look that up, I think under other.
Yep.
And they can direct them to the correct precinct or the polling location.
So they would not be able to vote at the wrong polling site.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. QVF or they won't let you because
Right.
you're not registered in that precinct.
Yes. Okay, George, what if I have a problem voting or someone's trying to intimidate me or harass me? What should I do?
Well, in our case, you would ask the election supervisor for help in saying, look, I don't feel comfortable. This person has been in my face or whatever. And the election supervisor is supposed to make peace, right? That's their job, not to cause controversy, but to solve issues. And we need to make sure that everybody feels safe at their polling location. And if that person can't do it, then if we have to call in a police officer to calm people's nerves, then we will do that. But we don't want anybody to feel intimidated. We want it to, we're gonna side with the person that wants to vote and allow them to vote in as a peaceful situation as we can possibly make it.
One thing I forgot to ask in the beginning was, what if a league member is at the polls and hears an election worker say something to a voter that we think is incorrect and that would possibly affect the person's right to vote? What should I, as a league member who just happens to be there, maybe a poll watcher or something, just wondering.
Well, that would never happen in Dearborn Heights, I'm sure, but if it happens in Dearborn, then I would suggest that you contact myself or my deputy directly. And if they are giving up false information or wrong information or misinformation, then we need to correct that. So we appreciate if you hear anything like that, because we want to get that corrected as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're gonna go through, we have any more from the audience? Okay, we're gonna just a few more and then quickly go through those. George, do we have to fill out the whole ballot for it to be counted?
No.
Lynn, can you explain a split ticket?
A split ticket is where you can go a straight party, but you can cross over if you want to vote for another candidate in the other party.
Okay, and what is, George, what is a provisional vote and how is that different than signing an affidavit?
You know, I knew somebody was going to ask me this question.
I'm glad you got that question.
And I'm glad Lynne is here to help me through the provisional ballot. You know what? My deputy is like up on this 100%. And whenever I have a question about provisional ballots, I usually refer that to her since she's been doing them forever. And I'm not as familiar with it as she is. So I apologize.
I know it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
And I think those provisional ballots, this could have been from our deputy, that they're not as, they don't occur as often anymore.
Right,
Maybe
they're
this
pretty,
was- yes,
but sometimes people get those mixed up.
yes.
Jen, I think there's another question in chat.
There is, it just came in from Edel. If someone doesn't fully fill in the oval, just check marks, does it still count?
Well, it depends on, are they talking the absentee ballot or are they talking the polling location? Because
It doesn't specify, so go ahead.
because George, ring in on this.
We'll do both. So
Okay.
if you're at the precinct and the machine doesn't recognize it, it'll spit it out.
Exactly.
And it'll ask you to look it over again. And then you can look it over yourself and say, okay, maybe I didn't fill. And the election worker will probably say, did you fill in the bubble completely? And if you have, and it still spits it out, then that's another issue. But typically when you fill in the bubble completely, that won't be an issue, but it could kick it out if it isn't filled out. And then you have an opportunity there at the precinct to make the change and get it corrected. If it happens in the absentee voting room, then that's when something's called adjudication happens.
Yeah.
And what happens then is the machine will kick it out, and then we'll have a Democrat and a Republican look at that ballot and try to determine and agree on what that person meant. Did they mean to fill it in? Did they not mean to fill it in? And they will make the decision and agree, they have to agree on what that person meant. So you'll have two other people looking at that ballot to determine what happens.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and somebody did mention in chat that the provisional, like you said, doesn't happen very often. And I think you have to fill something out And basically, my understanding is that you can vote, but it doesn't go with the rest of the ballots. And you actually have to go into the clerk's office within a few days, or whatever it is, and attest that that is, so it's usually an instance where they're not sure that who you're saying you are is that person.
Okay.
Okay, I
Right.
think we're gonna finish the questions unless something's come through, Jen. And I wanted to, nothing came through, Jen? Anything more?
The only thing was from Jerry asking about whether the provisional ballots are always counted. And I
Yeah.
think we've kind of touched on that just
Right,
now.
thank you. So what I'd like to do is just, is there anything else? We'll start with Lynn, that you want to make sure people know. And, if you could shout it from the house rooftop, what you would say.
That express your right to vote.
Sounds good. George?
I would say, don't wait to the last day to register
good
to
one.
vote.
That's a good one. I
If
know.
you like your clerk at all, if you have, even if you don't like him or her, if you just want to do things the best and most efficient way, don't wait to the last day. I always say, the longer you wait, the longer you'll wait.
Exactly. On presidential, on March 10th, we had 175 new registers, a voter. It was nonstop, just registering
On
voters.
election day.
On March 10th, yeah, the
Wow.
presidential primary. So it was extremely busy.
I don't want to one up you here, but we had over 400.
Okay, come on. You have a bigger city.
We're a little bit bigger, yeah, but yeah,
But
it
it's a
was
lot.
it
It's
was
definitely-
nonstop,
Yep.
nonstop, and that really it takes away time from everybody that's working the counter that normally would be answering questions from poll workers and or residents. So when they're busy just registering people all day, then they don't have an opportunity to answer the phone, and sometimes those phones will not be picked up.
Absolutely.
And that's not what we want. We want everybody to be taken care of as quickly as possible. So if you would register to vote, you've still got 12 days to do it. And we're hoping that you do that before Election Day.
And we just want to remind people to go to michigan.gov/vote. Select the box that says your voter information. You will see where you go to vote. You'll see who your clerk is. You'll see the status of your absentee ballot, if there's more than one drop box. And I think there's, and if you're registered to vote. So George and Lynn, thank you so much. This has been so helpful. Is there anything that the league can do to help other than trying to educate people as well as we can?
Well, I think you've done a lot already, and having conversations with Jennifer and other folks, in my case, every other week, every 2 or 3 weeks, has really helped us to get on the same page. And because we know how important this election is. In Dearborn, we're going to probably have the most people ever vote in any election, as far back as maybe the 60s. But we're expecting close to 50,000 people voting. So the league has really helped us get the word out, and programs such as this that are being recorded tonight and sent out over the next 12 days will certainly help us get the word out. So I appreciate that. And thank you.
Oh, we appreciate both of you. And as one of our attendees said, especially during these trying COVID times, we appreciate all you've done. So we're going to bid adieu to Lynn and George, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can
Thank you.
I just say something?
Quickly.
Thank you very much for this, Lynn and George. And I wanted to extend to your staff to let them know we miss them tremendously because of the pandemic. We were unable to process all those high school registration forms
yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
And that you both have tremendous staffs in that, and our hats are off to them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mary Jo, can I just say something really quick?
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
Lynn, yes.
I'd just like to thank the league for giving us this opportunity. And it was my pleasure to meet George, even if it's via Zoom. This is the first time we've seen face.
Oh, I just assumed you probably knew each other.
No. I mean, yeah, I'm a short time. Well, not a short time. It's been a short time that I've been in this position, and
Yeah.
not being able. We've been busy with the election. you know,
Yes.
from, I hit the ground with, you know, quickly. And then I wish you a smooth election day, George.
You too. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
I
you.
apologize, Lynn. I forgot to go back to you. I apologize.
That's okay. That's
Oh,
okay.
I know. Thank you so
Okay.
much. It's been
You're
great.
welcome.
Okay. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Everybody else stay on. Okay. So Betsy, are you still with us, Betsy? Betsy's gonna.
I am.
Okay. Betsy is a local member, but she's also the vice president for voter services for our state league. And she's gonna kind of update us on what's going on throughout the state. Thank you, Betsy.
I'm going to take very little time, I hope. I also want to thank, this is a wonderful opportunity for all of us to hear the clerks. There's so, you know, to have a new appreciation for all the information they need to know and all the issues they have to deal with. So this is just a wonderful thing that they would give us this time and that the league would think of doing this. So I'm really pleased to have this program. Isn't it so ironic that we've had that this is the year that we're so thrilled, our first presidential election under Prop 3, that so many of us passed petitions and worked so hard to get no excuse absentee balloting, same day registration. We now have 40 days of registering and voting in person in your clerk's office. I mean, we have all these wonderful things. It was going to be a wonderful election season for us. And it still kind of is, but now we have a pandemic, which we couldn't have predicted. And we have a lot of atmosphere of worry, just general worry. And so it really is safe and secure to vote in Michigan, to vote in Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. And we're really fortunate to have all these provisions from Proposal 3. So I hope all of you who worked for it really do feel good about it, great about it. We printed 110 state voter guides. And if you need more, Mary Jo, I will have some sent.
I think I better get some more from you, according to George.
Sounds like maybe we might need some more because I gave my last box out yesterday. So, but there's still some in the state office that we can request. And I don't want to take time, but I do want to just say, you know, leagues all over the state have been doing wonderful things, as this league has been. And it's so exciting to be at the state board level and to hear reports and to see, I mean, anybody can go on to the various websites and see what they're doing. I wanted to tell you one that was phone call that was referred to me, and I called her, and it was a woman who's a league member in one of the suburban communities around us. That was very concerned because she'd seen that article in the paper about a drop box being burned in California. And she really wanted to make sure that that this wouldn't happen here. And I went through all the reasonable kinds of things that we're doing, you know, of the 24-hour security and, you know, all the other kinds of things. But I also told her that I'm a worrier by nature, which those of you who know me know I am. And that it was just, I worry about all these things, but I have never seen, and I've been in this a long, long time, I have never seen the mobilization that we have being part of an election protection coalition of all these organizations. There's in various projects, like certainly always 50 organizations. And I think that there are, for some projects, even more. There are people, you know, I had someone come to my house at night, to pick up that last box that I had here of state voter guides to take to food banks in Southwest Detroit. And, you know, the things that are going on, the people we are reaching, that sometimes because of the pandemic, we've been forced to look at different ways of distributing voter guides a lot. And to hear that all these wonderful stories of people, and that was her second trip doing this, because she said the people in the shelters, and they were studying and reading these voter guides. They absolutely loved and absorbed all that information. So, you know, you really need to be thinking, you know, that we're doing really good work all over the state, including here in Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. And we need to feel really good about the role we play. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Betsy. And you and your team have certainly been working very hard, and we appreciate all you've done. And on behalf of all Michigan voters, we thank you for sure. And I just wanted to note that the another really great source of information is the State League's website at lwvmi.org. And tonight, this completes our formal meeting. I want to thank everyone who joined us. And hopefully you'll be watching, some of you will be watching this on YouTube. And good night. Thank you.